everybody.
Good afternoon.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Welcome to Live from Rabs from inside the one and only Rabs Country Lanes.
The one and only.
I know I didn't make my... Nazareth asked me a question before we went live, and I didn't answer. And now I'm assuming that me not answering her, she understood that was a no. So no, yes. I didn't.
Actually, funny you bring that up. That is a male trait. That is something that drove me nuts for years with my husband until I understood man speak. That if you ask a man a question and he doesn't answer you, that means no.
Okay. I mean, I was in the middle of something, so I was thinking.
Okay.
But
yes. In general, that means no. So much for Formal Friday.
Yeah, we didn't embrace it this Friday. We're a little. I think we didn't embrace Formal Friday today, mainly because we might be on strike. Today we should be out at the golf course, and maybe this weather is a sign that
I don't know. This is like pretty much almost every day, every golf outing that we've had. The weather held out
until the end.
Till right before we would go in, and when everybody would come off the horse, it would start to rain.
Yeah, she was womansplaining.
Actually, I don't know if that might have been mansplaining. That is definitely a guy thing.
So, thanks for tuning in with us. We would have loved to have been tuning in from the golf course and having our annual golf outing, which was one of the best events that we look forward to every year.
We absolutely do.
So while we won't have a golf outing here in 2020, we know that May 7th, 2021 will be here before we know it. So mark your calendars, May 7th, 2021. It's so weird to say 2021.
And you know what? The year's almost halfway over. 2020.
Well, it's still March, though.
I know. It's March 80th.
Whatever day today is, March. Yeah, March. Yeah, that makes sense. March 80th. So, hey, we got a good show for us today. I have to share this. And so, for those that watch every day, you get to see a little bit of the opening here, and you never know what's going to happen. And I've unmuted early just to see if you could capture something that may be happening behind the scenes. Yesterday...
You never tell me this.
No. Well, it started when you were singing the one day, and then we didn't capture it. So we would have loved to have people have heard you sing and whatever it was. And then even me. However, yesterday, I didn't know I did this. So apparently, I must have unmuted us. And I have to show this because I think this is absolutely hilarious. I discovered this this morning. So this is yesterday. So this is yesterday's live stream, and I want you to listen carefully. I'm going to replay the opening, and just listen carefully. So I don't know if any of you caught that yesterday. I'm going to do it again.
Oh, come on, Frank.
Wait for it.
Oh. And it wasn't even a whispered. It wasn't whispered. I can't even remember what I was talking about. I know we were talking about the opening being short.
Yeah, but that was during the opening, so I don't even know what it was. I know.
I'm not. I might have just been.
Nobody called us out on that yesterday, so that means nobody was paying attention in the first 20 seconds of our opening, which I think is great. So now, if you didn't hear it yesterday, you got to hear Naz say what she said live on the air in the background.
It was live, but it was really. Anyway.
And Todd Bavona made sure to tell us that, gosh, that opening is awesome. Well, thank you. And to Mike, Gotham Trinity for putting that together for us.
Thank you.
You just never know what's going to happen.
That's how we keep it real.
We keep it real. It is so true. That is so true. And because we can keep it real, I want to share the meme of the day now.
Oh, okay. Come on, let's get it going.
The meme of the day. So I thought this was funny. It's a follow-up from yesterday's conversation.
That's something I've never had.
So 6 feet is the social distancing guidelines, but for people that put pineapple on their pizza,
it's a little more.
It's a little more.
So, have you ever had that?
No, I wouldn't. Why would I put pineapple on my pizza?
I don't know.
That Hawaiian pizza thing looks disgusting. I'm not judging. If you like it, good for you.
Yeah,
Enjoy it.
It just looks different. I don't judge people if that's something they like. I just asked if you ever had it.
No, have you?
No, I haven't.
You said that. I don't know. If anybody likes pineapple on their pizza, please share. And I like sweet. Don't get me wrong. I like sweet, savory. I think you would think that's something I would like, and no,
you would think
definitely not. Definitely not a fan.
It's a mix. It's a mix of two foods that you feel don't belong together.
Well, because usually it has the ham and
right. It's got other stuff on it.
Yeah, right. And I love of
Debbie,
course you do.
Right on it,
Debbie. And so in Scotland, they really like pineapple on their pizza. Here in New York, I mean, they do it. But
it's a different thing.
And for anybody that watches, so Todd is also sharing that if you watch Breakfast with Bloomy and one of their live shows,
they talk a lot about pizza.
They talk a lot about pizza, and they all concur: no pineapple on pizza. I mean, if just in case you wanted some experts, so Mike Bloomfield, Todd Pavona, Massimo Dodana all agree: no pineapple on pizza.
Well, just because they don't like it doesn't mean somebody
else. That's right.
Does.
Well, that's why I was being funny. Pineapple with spicy chicken, red onion, and peppers. I'd like all of that, just not on pizza. Just put that in a plate and I'll enjoy it. That's all right.
All right.
So what was on your dinner table last night, Naz? Because usually, sometimes we have the conversation here, and by the time you get home...
Yeah, and again, plans got changed. So we had to change our microwave because my microwave conked out. And I was like, okay, so we pick it up at the store. And I'm like, it's so easy. I YouTubed the video on how to put it up.
You were excited yesterday about just YouTubing and taking out the microwave, the built-in microwave.
Oh yeah, because I had done that already, and it was super simple. So I was all ready, and so the first thing that happened was the bolts that attach it from the top were not long enough to reach down. So after we came back from the store, we had to run to the hardware store and get longer bolts. I should have, Jim. You're right. I should have come here. So then I got home and we got all the holes marked and the holes lined up from the previous one. It was all good. And then we went to drill the holes in the back wall, and I had 2 drills that we couldn't get the bit out of. And then the other drill, the bit wouldn't fit in. So after I wanted to slam all 3 of them into the ground into pieces, because I'm not really patient. When I start a project, I want it to get it done.
Shocker.
Yeah. So after I futzed around with that for about an hour, I said, yeah, I'm not, because we were going to grill. I was going to grill.
Right.
By that time, I was stressed out. So I ordered pizza.
So after all that pizza talk, you had to order pizza.
After all that pizza talk, I had pizza.
Pier
76 is my go-to place. Yes, I love their pizza.
Their pizza is good.
And they even have nice salads there. Ray usually gets a nice steak and tomato salad that we split. And we like the food from there. And just in general,
I like the pizza their other concept, Molo, which didn't pan out.
Right.
They changed it a little bit. The pizza's basically the same, but a little bit different flair.
Right.
And the pizza was great there too.
Yeah.
But their pizza is good.
It's hard to have multiple places.
Oh, I agree.
It's hard, because if you have one place, you have control over that place, and now you open up another place, and now it's almost like you're splitting yourself, and it's hard to control it's a lot.
And when it comes to pizza, the ovens do make a difference. And so for a great example, when Gennaro's took over here,
right.
we brought Jerry in, and the recipe is exactly the same.
Right.
However, I grew up on Gennaro's pizza.
Right.
Gennaro's and Nunzio's, which is down the block in Grant City. And I still love that pizza.
I haven't had
but it's a
Nunzio's
different
in years.
Oh, it's so good. But it's just different.
It's different. Yeah.
I will tell you, Gennaro's and Newdorp and our pizza, while both good, were definitely different.
Different.
And it is definitely to the ovens and certainly the stone. Naz, important question.
That was.
Did you indulge in some wine after that experience?
After the experience with my pizza, yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
It goes without saying.
Yes, not a lot, just a nice glass to soothe the nerves.
It's fine. It's okay.
It was good. Everything was good after that. I just, of course, now the big box.
So where is everything now?
In the middle of my kitchen, and so that's where it is. And the hardware is up in the cabinet, so nobody can move it because my mom likes to come down and put things away. I
think we all do that, though. I think we all have our thing at times when we're working on something, and then somebody comes by it, and I know I've done it to my mother. I've done it, and then they do it to me. You know,
totally unintentional. Now, who's calling me right now?
It's not really that important. I mean, so Anne says she misses our pizza, and it was very interesting and helpful. So Anne, where have you been ordering pizza, and where have you been ordering pizza from?
That would be a good question. Because
I
know she likes to indulge.
She indulges in our pizza multiple times a week, and even her son pointed it out last week when we were talking that he misses the pizza too. Anyway, we can talk all day about pizza, but it's not really about pizza today. Today we have a special guest, the one and only, and I call him Uncle John. I've known him since
he's probably got a lot of nieces and nephews.
He does grandchildren at this point, but he has a lot of nieces and nephews. Uncle John, how are you?
Great. This is really so cool. I'm really proud of you guys.
And I have to say, I'm proud of you for being able to get on here with no problem.
Oh yeah, very easy. My technical support were abusing me earlier, so.
I did get a couple pictures that I'm not going to share, but your son did share them in the social space for everybody else to see.
I do know that.
So if anybody's friends with Joe LaSpina on Facebook, you will see that the technical support had to come in and help John get set up. Well, John, the one and only John LaSpina. So for those of you who don't know, and many of you do know, you're bowlers. John is the proprietor of Maple Lanes, which they currently operate 5 bowling centers in the country. And he's also the chairman of the Bowlers to Veterans Link, which, John, I'd like to say this was on purpose, but today we celebrated the 75th anniversary of the end of World War II in Europe. And this morning, some pomp and circumstance at 12:30, there was a flyover in DC, which I thought was really cool. So,
I'm sure they're very happy about the flyovers, as much as we like them here.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
We're really a little nervous about the flyovers.
Well, it depends on the flyovers we're nervous about.
Well, okay.
Are they looking for you?
No.
They look awfully close.
Yeah.
I'm comfortably close.
Yeah. They said that they were doing commercial airliner flyovers. JetBlue was going to do the commercial airliner. So the Blue Angels, you can understand. They're kind of you kind of get that. But the commercial airplanes, I don't think we need that. But yeah, it's a nice ceremony and something to celebrate.
So perfect fitting for having you with us today. So thanks for joining us. How are you holding up during all of this?
Well, I've been secluded since early March. I made a decision my life is filled with people that I would get away from it all. So I've been holed up here at home. My wife and I have been doing great together. We live on 4 levels, so that comes in handy. We're managing, like everyone else. I'm concerned for, my first concern is all about family safety. And then my heart breaks for all our employees. We have, to your point earlier, Naz, about multiple locations. It really comes down to people.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you have people that some of my employees have been with me more than 40 years. You ask Michael Bloomfield, who I knew at birth. If you would have told me that his dad would last more than 40 years with us, would call me regularly, being semi-retired, and is involved in every project that we do from that day, way back when, to this day, you could have knocked me over. But it comes down to people. So my real concern is have our people wound up on unemployment, which they all have, and with the government, the U.S. government part of it, they're all doing okay. Then their health is important, and that's a primary concern. So you worry about everyone and you worry about yourself, and what you're doing is great because you're communicating with people and you're there reaching out, and I think it's great.
Yeah, we appreciate that. And most people don't realize the tight knit community within, and we talk about this a lot, but the tight knit community within our centers with our staff. And I mean, they're not our staff; they're really our extended family. That they are a part of who we are, and then our customers are at the same time are that extended family. And outside of this industry, I don't really think people understand there are regulars in restaurants. And don't get me wrong, in the restaurants that I frequent that I'm a regular, I feel like family and I feel at home. It's not the same to the point we're making. Yeah, it's not the same within our bowling centers.
Yeah.
And you reach out to everyone you could touch. You should touch right now, as far away as you are. And I speak to a number of my customers. I speak to as many staff members as I can. I've always avoided Facebook with my staff members. I befriended as many as I could just to make sure they're okay, see if they have any needs, and work hard to keep that connection going, because someday we'll be open and we have to make sure our team is in place.
Yeah, and staying in touch with them has been, and it's challenging too, because I think it's awkward for them too, not working. And so I know some of them are watching and have been, and we're trying to stay in touch. And before we know it, we'll be back in action. So the theme of the show the last few days, and even going into Monday, has been this Brooklyn connection, the Staten Island Brooklyn connection, where the guinea gangplank, as we call it,
connects. It wouldn't happen without the bridge.
Yeah, that's right.
I actually watched the two pieces of that come together. And I would go to work with my dad every weekend that I could. And we would sit on the side of the Belt Parkway and we'd look at that bridge as it came together. And there are people that lived in Staten Island before the bridge. My father had cousins that he never saw until that all happened. And it's part of one of my memories. Really cool.
Yeah. And so Maple Lanes was a staple in Brooklyn for 50 years, right? Talk a little bit about building that center, because it's still today. So we all know, everybody knows Maple Lanes. It's still referred to as the Maple Lanes, even though it's not there today. And you've left a legacy here in New York City, and you're still here in New York City. With Jib Lanes, but then you had the other center. So, but Maple Lanes really was the beginning of all of this.
It's I've always given it thought, and my father is always in my ear one way or the other, just like your dad's in your ear. And the message has always been there's a time to stay and a time to go. And we kind of felt in 2013 that it was time to go. But all those years in between, and you got to remember, I was 12 when my father built it. I threw the first ball on September the 7th, 1960 that opened it. And I threw the last ball in 2013 on the same lane that closed it. And there's a book that I should write between those two shots.
Yeah.
Because it includes thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people. Most of them great, some of them outlandishly funny, some of them great on the lanes, bad on the street, and a million stories in between. We had somebody who received phone calls. Let's call him Joe Smith. And he'd receive a lot of phone calls, and we never questioned what his phone calls were all about. But then another Joe Smith retired, And all of a sudden we see a deep discussion because the second Joe Smith was answering the first Joe Smith's calls. And the discussion was, your name is Jerry. So when Joe Smith got a phone call, Joe Smith #1 answered it. And it's Brooklyn. You can't explain it. And I'm a Long Island kid that had to learn about Brooklyn. And it's just, it was, I look back at all the cool things. Mama's Barrow's first delicatessen was around the block. The neighborhood went from being very Italian to being very everything, especially Hasidic. So where I used to walk to one of my father's employees for Sunday dinner at 2 o'clock on Sunday, now you walk through 2 synagogues to get there, and Sam Bresci isn't there anymore, you know? So as neighborhoods change, you have to go back to the first thing I said. Time to stay, time to go. But the people that taught me the business, and the people on the lanes taught me the business, they taught me how to treat them. They taught me how to market. They taught me what they'd want to buy. They taught me what they didn't want. And you learn a lot. You can't go to Wharton School to learn what I learned on the corner of 16th and 60th. Just incomprehensible.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. So one of our hosts, Joe Calandrillo, tells us that his dad was a fixture there when they first opened.
I think I have the right Calandrillo. There were so many people. One of the things in those days, bowling center opened. They were open 24 hours, 7 days a week. When my father opened it, he had 2 partners. Each of them took a shift around the clock for an entire year till they felt comfortable to hire staff. With social distancing, I had a Zoom meeting with the key people, and I said, you know, in the early days, we would run a boomerang, and the boomerang was at midnight on Friday, and it ended as we got to work on Saturday morning when I was tagging up with my dad. And you'd go across 12 lanes and you'd re-enter, and there were prizes and strike jackpots. And I said to everyone, let's bring that back, because we could distance people by just bringing back that memory. Of course, I had to figure out how it would work. So I called Johnny Petraglia. I said, tell me from a bowler's point of view. I didn't know there was a 6 strikes jackpot and all sorts of other things. But it's funny that you could reach back in the past and you could find something to help you today. So.
Well, and that also, you talk about the neighborhoods, right? So when you're in such a true densely populated neighborhood, you have a lot of that. And here on Staten Island, we have it in pockets. Right. The North Shore, I feel, has more of that. Right. As you go south, it's while it's populated, you just don't have that true old school neighborhood feel where people were outside there on their stoops yelling back and forth, like my mother would say, when they grew up in Brooklyn.
Yeah. The stoop is what Brooklyn taught me about. And the stoop is about community. And the stoop is about taking care of your neighbor and arguing with your friend and playing stoop ball and all that kind of stuff. You know, there's wisdom there.
Yeah, and today we make fun of the people who are always looking out the windows.
Yeah.
They know way too much about business. Where then, and even growing up in Grant City, we had a nice neighborhood. We all knew each other, but it wasn't the same type. But at the same time, as we move forward, it's just changed. Yeah. So your dad built that center, right? And so
my dad was a house builder, and it's kind of a cool story that he had partners. A neighbor of ours came to my father and said, my brother's making a killing in the bowling business. My dad was a house builder. And actually, the man I'm talking about was our neighbor, but my father built him a house 2 blocks away. And last year, I bought that house, and I'm going to move there because my father built it, and it has a bowling connection. So it's all come full cycle for me. But gentleman said to my dad, my brother's making a killing in the bowling alley business in New Jersey. Let's build a bowling alley. And I remember that was probably 1958 or 59. took a long time to find a piece of property. One of the sites was going to be on Cross Bay Boulevard, and it was like barren at the time, way back when, and they chose Bensonhurst over that. And a man named Nick Murata, who owned bowling lanes, he owned the Fort Way and Park Circle and one other one, had this piece of property and wound up wanting to sell it, and that's how it wound up there. And it's, not even 2 acres, and it has a great life to it ever since. It's just a great thing.
When I laugh when we get complaints that we don't have enough parking here, I think about that dense neighborhood, the small parking lot with the same amount of lanes. It's just the way I life here in New York.
On that side of Brooklyn, the only bowling center with parking.
Yeah,
you think about it, in those days, you had 3-star and all the million different places. 6 blocks away was Jmar, and around the block was Avenue M, and none of them had parking. Just the way it was.
And then you talk gym lanes at this point in Queens, which you're back to that no parking situation.
Yeah, limited. It is crazy. It has a little bit of a sign. It's a 48-lane bowling center underground with 50 some odd columns, and it's busy as could be. Thankfully, at least when we're open, it's busy as could be. And it is what it is. It's the nature of New York City. It's why we have buses and subways, and one of the reasons why, as I go back in time, there were 2 bus lines and a subway right nearby. And that we had that, and we had 1,000 lockers. And when people take either a cab or a subway, they're not going to lug their bowling balls. Even in those days, one single Manhattan rubber or an ace ball was heavy to lug.
So then, how did Gil Hodges come to be? So the next transition to another bowling center, right?
You know how I have love and respect for your father?
Yes.
It always pays to do the right thing for everyone. My father helped the Gil Hodges Lanes people finish their project. Gil Hodges Lanes was on Ralph Avenue, the original one. Which is in Georgetown, which is in Flatbush. Maple was in Bensonhurst. My father started building after they started building, and opened up long before they opened. And Gil Hodges and Dr. Terranova came to Maple when it opened, and they spoke to my dad, and my dad went over there and showed them how to integrate subcontractors and expedite the job. And it opened, I think, in January or February of '61. And that friendship went all through New York City BPA. And right behind me, I don't think you can see it, there's a plaque in the back, and it's Dr. Terranova's honorary membership into BPAA, which is one of my treasures. So Dad took care of Doc, and when Gil Hodges died in '72, by '79, Gil Hodges Lanes needed new management. Doc called my dad, and they struck the deal, and there we were. I had a friend in business who we were doing business with, doesn't matter who he was, but I said to him, always be careful how you treat people on the way up, because you might meet them on the way down.
Absolutely.
So that guy fell down, and my father built relationships and taught me how to build relationships, and that was Gil Hodges Lanes.
That's cool. You talk about your stuff on your walls, which I know you have lots of stuff, and that's what we see in the background at the moment is not nearly a piece of it. Yeah, there we go. And if anybody knows John has I guess a newer hobby in the last several years of buying old stuff on eBay. Tell us a little bit about your collection and the things that you've been, as your friend would say, the things you're hoarding.
I don't even know where to begin, but I want to go in my closet here and show you a bowling award. And the bowling award is from my grandfather, my father's father, who died in 1924. His bowling award for a 233, and it has my name on it because I'm named after him. So we always had that little bit of history and that connection. I've won it 2 or 3 times, but I keep it in a safe place. I felt that stuff is getting thrown away that shouldn't get thrown away. And I started with buying bowling, advertising featuring bowling, 7-Up, Coca-Cola ads, and I'd frame them and I'd put them around. And from that, I found some trophies online that were really beautiful. And remember, you always go back to your childhood. There was a tournament whose finals were in the middle of Madison Square Garden, where Brunswick would build 2 lanes and bowling centers would have qualifying rounds. And each bowling center had a big urn, a big beer stein, like a 14-inch, 18-inch beer stein. And it said the Rupert Brunswick Tournament. And I remember that Shirley Gomes and Billy G won that tournament and did an exhibition at Maple where we always had on displays these beer steins. So I went online and I bought a bunch of those beer steins that were still out there. And I put them on display. And then people would send me things. So before you know it, I had a showcase full of stuff. And then I bought some more things. I have a bowling license for a 2 or 4 lane bowling alley in New York City from 1903. It's like one of my treasures. It had nothing to do with me, but it had to do with the history of bowling. And then we go to the Hall of Fame auctions during Bowl Expo. And I love those newel posts, the wooden ball return I bought one 2 weeks ago, and I'm refinishing it in the basement because I wanted a project to do while I'm home.
Yeah.
I'm having fun with that. Then all of a sudden, people bring me things. It's amazing what people have brought me. And sometimes you get lucky. I'm looking at your nice settee area. You know that Rockville Center is very tight. It's a 34-lane place and the corners are tight. Yeah. I bought wooden Brunswick maple wooden settees. I probably have 12 lanes worth, and I'm going to strip them down. I'm going to rehouse them. I put one out like a park bench. People love it because people love the past. Yeah. My real treasure is a mural that was at Maple's bar from the day we opened to the day we closed. And it's a picture of the view of Manhattan from Brooklyn, 1960. And if you look, the lower part of Manhattan is barren. There's the Brooklyn Bridge, and then you see the Empire State Building. And just like you have those nice masking units, we wanted to replace our masking units and make them personal. So in the summer of 2001, just before we were about to get new lanes, I brought a photographer in, and we decided that we wouldn't use that mural as our backdrop for masking units because the World Trade Center wasn't in it. And I look at that picture, and what I did is that always stuck with me, all right? So when we left, no jackhammering, I'm talking. When we left, I rolled up that mural. Barry took care of that for me. We kept it nice. My father complained that it was $600 in 1960. The designer, it's 11 feet long and 4 feet high. The designer picked every color that was in the bowling center. There was maple leaves in the rugs and epaulets on the walls and different colors. Well, I spent $6,000 to have it restored by an art restorer who usually works for the Met. And he said to me as he's putting this thing back on our wall in Rockville Center, he said, "This is the best job I've ever had. Those museums are so stuffy. This place is great. It's full of people and fun." And there's our mural, which is part of our history. So I'll just go in the lounge and look at it now and just say, I remember that.
That's
And
cool.
all the people that I was with in front of that. And it's kind of cool.
So it must be a nice feeling to know that you had a business that when people say the name Maple Lanes, they don't just think of a building. It kind of evokes a feeling of memories and people and families, and so that has to be a great feeling as a business owner.
Do you remember Carol Schwartz, who worked for me?
Yes.
Wonderful, long gone. She said, "We're just like Cheers, where everyone knows your name." And when someone says that to me, you can't make it up. It's everyone knew everyone. It was not a large 48-lane bowling center. It was only a 36,000 square foot building, so we couldn't do the lanes like you did. You have 48 in a row. We would have had 40. So they crammed 48 lanes in a little box. So it was very intimate. The snack bar, to this day, people will come to me and say, "I knew having a maple special." 3 horseshoe snack bars, 3 horseshoe bays, and 11 seats at each bay. And I still have those bays because you never know when you're going to need a bay, right? And it lent itself to camaraderie and friendships and arguments. And you two are too young, but when it opened, there was a soap opera at night called Peyton Place, where not only did everyone know their name, but everyone knew everyone's significant others. So besides being Brooklyn's friendliest lanes, which is our blurb, they also named it Peyton Lanes. So there was a lot of that. I was too young.
I mean, that's most bowling centers around the country.
Yeah.
So when we closed, I made sure I took the mural. There was a window from the outside of the snack bar to the kitchen, just a cutout. And above that was a silver dollar that the milkmen gave my father before we opened. And I have that silver dollar. And I have the clock that was over the desk that my grandmother gave to my parents when it opened. And I have these little maple leaf epaulets carved out of wood that I will find a place for. And there's always a future in the past. You always learn. You could always use what you learned earlier and apply it in a contemporary way today. What put us on the map was the way we promoted daytime league bowling. Long before women went back to work, we had a telephone room. And in the beginning, we just had one bowling center. We had 3 or 4 people calling. As we grew, and at one point we had 3 bowling centers in Brooklyn, we had a room with 12 telephone operators. We called from one end of Brooklyn to the other, and we'd invite women in to learn to bowl lessons. Would Tuesday be good for you, Naz, or would Wednesday be better? And we never forgot that introducing the great sport to people would benefit not only them, but benefit us. You see, there's personal benefits in what we do. People do it because they really like it. People do it because they get joy out of it. You put multi-generations on a lane, and they're having good, clean fun and competition, and whatever they want to make out of it, they make out of it.
Yep.
So there's so much to it. I've seen 4 generations on a lane, great-grandmother to a little kid. And I've loved that people embraced what we were selling them. And it was so easy. We'd get 150, 200 people, women in a class at a time. And it was phenomenal. And from that, we'd put 60 women in a league and 50 women in a league. And, you know, I'm with you, Naz, when you talk about men don't listen. Sometimes they do because mom's in charge, at least in those days when there was a mom and a dad. If mom said we're going to go join a mixed league, they did. And when mom said you should join the junior league, those kids did.
Yeah.
So we wound up building relationships, some of which you're enjoying now, Frankie, and are people that we took out of those apartments and we got them on the lanes. I did a seminar for the California bowling proprietors once, and I brought a cross directory. And a cross directory is phone numbers by addresses, right? So you take an apartment building and you knew every phone number in that apartment building, and we would have leagues for that apartment building. And it was like really cool. And you could see the ethnicity of the building by the names on the phone list. And that's how we did it. Went block by block, right across Brooklyn and back and forth.
Yep.
And the beauty, and I'm going to go back to a memory, and Charlie Venable. Do you know who that is?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Charlie Venable, just by, you know, he just happened to be black, but that area was very white. And that area was near 18th Avenue, and there was a lot of disturbance about that. And there Charlie was inside our building teaching hundreds of women how to bowl as other nonsense was going on 18th Avenue. And it just shows you how bowling brings people together, because you get together for a common purpose and you do things collectively. And sometimes as a team, you have a mutual goal. I want you as a coach, Naz, you know, I've watched you instill that into those great female bowlers that you coach.
Well,
you know?
Charlie Venable was quite a guy.
He was the best.
He was
the best. And I miss him, and I've always loved him, and I'm grateful to him, and he was gone too soon, but I would have wanted him to work for us forever. He never worked for us ever, but you know, those are the kind of people. When I talk about people, you want to find the best of the best.
Yep.
You don't have to be the smartest. They just have to be the best of people.
Yeah.
And Charlie's one of those great memories I have. And it's such, I'm struggling for the word. I'll remember it after we're done. But
of course,
it's just what went on outside and what went on inside in Bensonhurst, inside Maple, with two different worlds. And that doesn't mean there was always peace in our time, but I'm separated. You know, me of all people became the bouncer. You know, and they were afraid I'd toss them out, so they were all right.
Hey, where did the name where did Maple Lanes come from? The name Maple Lanes.
So think about what you were saying about what neighborhood did you live in? Grant something?
Grant City as a kid, yeah.
Okay, well every neighborhood in Brooklyn has a name, and my mom named it Maple Lanes because my dad and she were driving around. You know, he'd work all week. Sometimes he was building a house and building the bowling center, so he'd have to start two jobs, and then on the weekend he'd drive to Brooklyn to make sure it's still standing. So they were driving around, and on the next corner was the Brooklyn Public Library, the Mapleton branch. And my mother said, "We're naming it Maple Lanes." My dad's name was Peter. Your initials are in the heart of it.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
See, it always it's funny because even today I get it more so today than I did before. You know, when my father was around, people knew who, and people don't get me wrong, people know who Rab is, but a lot of time, what's Rab stand for? Where did Rab come from?
Right.
And I tell these stories that it was a nickname, but it had, you know, it's got meaning. And so we're in the time where people go, they still call us country lanes, but it's now transformed into being known as Rabs.
Yeah.
So, which is what we've been doing in our rebranding. You know,
Right.
Country Lanes doesn't have that meaning to us like it did.
You created a brand and it stuck.
Yep.
So you want a rap memory? Before he was a bowling proprietor, what did he do? He was a pro shop operator and he ran tournaments. Teresa is more than 44 years old. Your dad came to me and wanted to run a midnight to 8 tournament. We had this one little child who was infant size, so it was 76 or 77, I think in 76. And your dad came to me and said, I want to do this tournament. We'll have 60 or 70 bowlers. We'll fill your house. And at the end, all you have to do is serve them breakfast. I'll pay you for lineage. So my wife and I worked midnight to 8. Our daughter was in the back office in a porter crib. And there we were making eggs for your father's bowlers.
I think Ray bowled in that tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say that again. I couldn't hear
I
you.
think Ray bowled in that tournament.
I'm sure it did. I'm
Yeah.
sure it did.
I remember that.
That's cool. It's, you know, at different times, right? So you think about what was going on then, and then where we are today.
Yes.
Operating events like that, and our centers, we are single center, you know, operators. We're in our centers. You know, it's a little different for you, as you know, you're not retired because you're far from retired. But I mean, at some point, you take a step back and you're not doing that. But you know, I think. Oh, you work a few days a week. You own a business. This is a 7-day a week job, 24/7, and people take that for granted. So it's cool when you have those stories. We would cook at breakfast for those people because hey, that's what we did.
That's what we did, right? Right.
Hey, I want to transition a little bit.
Yeah,
So I want to talk about BVL. And so something that so the Bowlers to Veterans Link's been around a long time, and you are now the chairman, which you've done for several years now. Talk a little bit about BVL, what BVL does. And I have to, you know, you text me, and I didn't see that announcement yesterday till after. You guys had an amazing announcement yesterday too. So raising millions of dollars every year, and talk a little about what BVL does.
Well, what BVL does, we'll take its the line that we use after BVL. We brighten veterans' lives, and it's been going on since World War II. And you talk about that generation. It was called the greatest generation for a reason. It started by women bowlers buying medical transport planes that brought wounded soldiers to hospitals from the fields. So the women went and bought planes. The men bowlers had 400,000 decks of cards printed and distributed to the front line. I have one in the closet also. So I buy some of those when I see them. And when you come all these years and you learn about PTSD, and that's always been there, it just didn't have initials. And what BVL does is try to ease the pain of those who suffer like that. And long before me, I mean, we've raised $50 million. I've been on the board, I guess, since 2012. My son developed this tournament, and it all came from 9/11. When 9/11 happened, and you probably had effects of it, that dust ball ran over our bowling center, and papers fell down, and we were all stunned, and we lost some bowlers, and bowlers lost some family, and it impacted me. And I felt that from our company perspective, we need to step up and do what's right for our community. Remember that stoop, right? The stoop is the neighborhood, and the community is the community, and the community we serve is important. I'm going to get up 1 second because there's a reason.
Thank God you have pants on today.
So here's a picture, and this is, let me get it where you could see it. This is a picture of us presenting the fire department and the police department. And this is how you create a memory. Okay, that's a 2-cent picture and a $12 frame. And we gave the local fire department and the local police department a maple leaf trophy. And we said, in all the years we're here, we've never said thank you to you. And that kind of started us wanting to get involved. Joe grabbed the Miller doubles format and began running in-center qualifying and multi-center roll-off, which is the benefit of having multiple locations. All the winners got to bowl free one afternoon for a tournament where they won a trip to Bowl Expo, which for some people was great. You know, you get 3 or 4 days free in wherever it is, in Nashville or in Vegas. So our bowlers, just like you created a brand, we created an activity that people wanted to participate in. And as the years went on, it went from $20,000 to $30,000. Last year, the last 3 or 4 years, we tied the PBA 50 in it, named it for Johnny Petraglia because of our personal connection with him, and the fact that he's a Vietnam veteran and a PBA member. And we put all those things together, and last year we raised $70,000 of the million. And trust me, $5 a pop or $2 a pop, and there's lots of entries. We company-wide, I think we had 5,000 entries. And then we create an event, and the event has ways of making money. And then we ask sponsors for money, and we try to give value and try to sell the fact that this little bowling company is trying to do the right thing for their neighbors, for the first responders. I love first responders, and there's such a connection to what's going on today and those people who fought for our country, because they're all first responders. They run into danger while you and I might run away from danger. So that's how my heart got involved with BVL. I just understood the bowling industry. I've been around forever. I was BPA president. Francis, how old are you?
33.
You were 5 when I was BPAA president.
I even had, it's funny because that so the year that you were president at the Bowl Expo, I believe was Nashville, that magazine is sitting here up on the table. I got a whole bunch of old magazines. I should have grabbed it and had it handy, but there's a, handsome, very young John LaSpina there.
I can get mine. But you know what I did is I took all those relationships that I built all those years ago, because if you go back to that time, it was very, very different. It was every organization was out for themselves, and I wanted one voice for bowling, and that's really what my goal has always been. We would go and make I remember being with the Women's Association, the Men's Association, and BPA in Winston-Salem, pitching why you should deal with either one of the 3 of us instead of the collective 3, meaning the bowling industry. So you take that premise and you bring it to BVL, and you say, well, why isn't every corner of the industry supporting BVL? Why isn't BVL the only why should it be the key charity where everybody does something? And that's what that was my mission. And, so far so good. All sorts of people who never got involved are involved. And I don't care if it's $28 from a bowling center or $10,000 from a MUBIG member. It doesn't matter to me as long as you're involved, and I'm grateful to everyone who recognizes that the money is well spent. We have 1 employee, a couple of consultants. We run on a 7% overhead. We're honorable, and we do good things in each community. So the money I raised, I make sure gets spent where my customers see it. So we've done St. Albans, VA Hospital, Northport, the Long Island State Home, one of them in Florida. We've done lots of things that people see where the money is spent. And it's spent in a way that helps heal and emotionally heal, which brings us to the 2 programs we just funded. Because we've been successful and we haven't granted every dollar, we kept some money aside for a rainy day. We felt it was raining. So there's and you'll forgive me for not doing the right name. The VA is initiating a program to reach out to veterans who were locked in at home. Think about how difficult it is for us. We didn't fight a war. We don't have demons inside of us that the result of that. So we wanted to support a program that reaches out to veterans. So we gave the VA the ability, and we fund things that aren't in the VA budget, and we track it and we know where it's spent and all. So this initial program reaches out to veterans that are locked in at home to make sure that they're okay. There's a high suicide rate with veterans. We want to knock that down. And if we could make them feel a little bit better, we do it. So I don't know how many volunteers they have, but they're working on it. We came forward. There's also a yoga component, which is all about stress release. So, I just wanted to make sure that we do something relevant, just like those 2 medical transport planes. They needed us now, and here we are. We stepped up.
Yeah. And it's sad because the veterans are for such a long time a neglected group in need. Yeah. And they really, some of them gave their lives and sacrificed so much to protect us and all of the things that we have now, all of the freedoms that we have. And some of them are suffering so badly. It is heartbreaking. This is a great BVL is a great thing.
Thank you.
And this sadly we were because of in New York in New York City, John, you're in Long Island now, so you're so far away. It's a whole nother country. We call this whatever's happened, this shit happening around us. That's what we refer to this current pandemic and time frame. But because of the pandemic, it put a little damper on our plans. We had an event planned for July, and that we will push for next July. A rock and bowl event and for BBL. So we were excited to get that launched and ready to roll with the partners that we were working with. So next summer, we'll look forward to it. And in the meantime,
everyone should take a deep breath, and whenever they could help, they could help. And that's what it's all about. I grew up, I was deferred for Vietnam. The Vietnam vets came home to not a nice welcome. Very different than the World War II veterans. And Frankie, when you were president, I introduced Mr. Weiss, the World War II veteran. And I've been on a podium a long time. I've never received a response to an introduction like that. People worship men and women who served, especially in that war.
Yeah.
And we're finally giving the Vietnam veterans the respect they deserve. And I'll say to everyone, you see someone with one of those hats that has wherever they serve, just thank them. That's all you need to do. I'll just do a thumbs up and kind of mouth it, thank you. And they're touched by that. And think about brightening veterans' lives. And that's if you think about that, you think about serving your community and making your community a better place. BVL is perfect for your business. And I do a couple of quotes. My John Paul quote is about do not walk through time without leaving worthy evidence of your passage. And you guys do it because you even doing this show shows that you're reaching out and you're doing the right thing. And the other quote I do is it goes like, when your business is associated with something good, it affects your employees, your customers, your shareholders, and everyone around you. And that's how I want my company to be run, and that's how I want to be remembered, and that's really, it's just how you get through it. And it took, I've stumbled like everyone else through life, and I've made my mistakes, but right now I'm focused on let's tell this story. Let's get bowling the respect that it deserves, because sometimes when you go outside of our four walls, the outside world doesn't understand it. Yeah. So this is a great story to tell.
Very true. Hey, if anybody wants to support the efforts of BVL, visit bowlforveterans.org. for more information and to drop a donation to the cause. You guys are you do great work, and in your leadership, you've certainly have done some great work. So thank you, John.
Appreciate it.
Hey, we really appreciate you taking the time with us today. It's nice to see your face.
It is nice to see
and you
your
shaved,
face.
I heard.
I shaved, and my wife gave me a nice short haircut.
and I didn't say it at the beginning of the show, but I gotta say it. I'm glad you are alive, and I did see a photo of Anita because she hasn't killed you yet. So you guys really must be making it work in that.
On 4 levels.
Oh, too funny. Well, give my best to Anita, please.
Thank you. You all stay safe. Whoever's listening, thank you. Please be safe and take this all seriously and protect yourself and your loved ones. And thank you, Frank and Naz. Give everyone my very best. You're my extended family as well.
Absolutely.
As you are to us.
We certainly appreciate it. And before we know it, we'll all be back to bowling in our bowling centers.
Yeah.
Let's hope.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, John.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one. The one and only
John LaSpina.
John LaSpina. Thank you, John, again for joining us today. Some magic happens here while we're live.
Isn't that incredible?
Magic, just magic. All of a sudden, a birthday cake appeared.
And birthday hats.
These,
are we putting them on?
My head might be a little too big. Oh, wait, it might work. Nope. Wait. We could use it. Can we use these as masks too? These as a mask. Well, it's today. We have a tradition here at Rabs when it's birthday. We love to celebrate birthdays.
Yep, everybody's birthday.
Jimmy Kane loves to celebrate his birthday so much that he has gotten away. He's decided he doesn't run away from us anymore.
No, he used to actually make sure he wasn't at work on the day when it was his birthday.
That was good for like 40 years.
Yeah. Until we decided to truly get it. So we have birthday cakes always. And so when you get the, hey, come to the bar, you know that it's your birthday. So today happens to be Michael's birthday. Michael, we have a birthday cake here for you.
Michael, not everybody gets their birthday.
It's true.
Facebook Live.
Well, Naz, this is the second birthday we've had on.
Yes. Your business idea needs a website.
Really?
Yeah.
This is the second birthday that we've had
Bob
live on the air.
was the first one, Mr. 300.
Bob Learn was the first birthday, and of course I pulled up the wrong birthday song.
Okay. Do you want me to light the candles while you're doing it?
Yeah, light the candles.
We don't have one of them.
What?
Place to hide it.
Oh, we don't have the singing candle.
This isn't happy birthday. Oh, it works.
It is. There it is. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Michael. Hey, don't drop the cake.
No, I'm not. I want to
It
say
actually says happy birthday.
P-I-T-O.
No.
A.
I'm sorry.
What does it
Pita
say?
or Piro?
What is it? No, it says P-E-T-O. Pito.
Pito.
We have a new nickname for him. Pito. Oh, my little Pito.
Michael, happy birthday. Make a wish.
Thank you, boys and girls.
Or should I say Pito?
Pito.
That is hysterical. I thought it would be pita.
So did I.
Yes, that's what I thought
when
it
we
said.
order Michael's food, it usually comes with the P.
Maybe that.
PITA.
No, it looks like an E.
We're gonna eat this.
Oh, we're eating it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's enough cake here for our little audience here. Michael, how old are you today?
37?
He has to think about that.
I do.
Wait, I'm sorry. That wasn't the question. The question is, how old are you in Smurf years?
12. Made it that far?
Maybe 12, he thinks. And so as Joni just said, because Michael just blew out the candles, it's now a COVID cake. Leave that to your good friend, Joni Pesolano.
I guess I'll be passing on that cake.
Bring her a piece later on tonight. Tell her.
Yeah.
We'll have to bring we should bring Joni a piece of cake. Well, happy Friday. It's episode 48, Naz. And so tomorrow is Saturday.
And you know what Saturday is, Frank.
Saturday here on Live from Rabs is Pro Bowler Hall of Famer Saturday.
And this Saturday is World Champion
Saturday.
World Champion Bowler.
Who's with us tomorrow, Naz?
Tim Mack. Tim Mack is with us tomorrow.
Yesterday we called him Timmy Mack.
Yesterday I called him Timmy. Yeah, but today he's Tim.
Our friend Joe Calandrillo comes back into the studio tomorrow with Tim Mack, world champion, PBA champion. This cake is still sitting here, and it's not going to get cut here. So I think we should bring this to appropriately get.
Hey, you don't want to come and get it?
No, Fran doesn't. Fran came into work today and does not want to.
But she'll send everybody else up.
Yeah, Fran does not want to be on camera. So thanks for. It's about time Fran came to work. Fran hasn't been to work in a while. But she's been
there's
working.
not a lot to do.
She's been working from
she
home.
She can
as
probably do her work from home.
She's teaching her children.
Right.
She's working from home.
Like I said, moms are carrying the load.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to see you, friend, without your children. Is it nice to be away from your children today? It is.
That's what I said. Sometimes just the mom maybe she just wants to go for a ride on Sunday for half an hour by yourself.
You should.
I may do that.
Well, Michael, you're getting lots of happy birthdays. So happy birthday to Michael.
Thank you, everyone.
This is certainly not the same. We should have planned a parade outside of Rabs today.
We could have done a drive-by.
We could do like the belated drive-by birthday parade for Michael. Fran, how come we didn't think of this? We should have had a parade on Delaware Avenue for Michael's birthday.
We'll do it on Monday.
All right, so Monday. So if anybody wants to drive by on Monday, yeah, we'll do. How about it? Monday we have a birthday parade for Michael. We're gonna line up outside Delaware Avenue. I don't know, but we'll come up with a time and figure this out. But I don't think it should be showtime. Might have to be before the show. Before the show, it can't be too early because otherwise we'll have to get Michael out of bed. And I'm sure Lori is enjoying the fact that Lori and Stephanie are enjoying the fact that they haven't had to call Michael in the morning
to wake him up.
Naz is probably loving it too.
Yeah, I am. I don't have to get stops on Saturday morning. So yeah.
All right, so we're gonna plan. So a birthday parade for Michael on Monday.
All right.
What time? 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock outside Rabs Country Lanes. We're gonna do a parade down Delaware Avenue.
Wake up before like 11:50. Jimmy will be here at 12.
We could line up in the parking lot and go around the block.
Yeah, you could do it like we were in school at Halloween, right?
All right.
Mask on and walk around. Go right down to the site.
This thing is
Kevin's not coming on. Yeah, me too. Kevin's not coming on Monday because he does his sock draws on Monday. Just in case anybody cared. So Monday, 12 o'clock, we're doing a parade for Michael. Anybody wants to join us? You park your car in the lot, and we'll set up right before that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's a plan.
So tomorrow, we've got Tim Mack on the show.
Tim Mack.
Sunday is Mother's Day. We're going to take a nice break.
We're going to take a break. I'm going to go for a ride.
That's a good idea. Take a break. Enjoy your Mother's Day.
Yes.
Which, of course, happy Mother's Day for anybody watching today that may not watch tomorrow, which we hope you're watching tomorrow. But happy early Mother's Day.
Yeah.
But first, before tomorrow could happen, Naz, it's Friday, and we're inside Rabs, and tonight is bingo night.
Hard to imagine. I have to remember to take home my bingo dabbers before I leave. And I'm excited. I'm taking the wine glasses from here.
You got some wine
I'm
glasses
gonna have
inside.
proper wine glasses. And so we're gonna have some wine. We're gonna play some bingo. And
Kathy, if you're remotely teaching at noon on Monday, send us something that we could give or send to Michael.
Yeah.
Or you could send him a text.
just maybe go out in your car and sit there and beep the horn a couple times.
Make a video of you
it.
beeping the horn outside for a
There
moment.
it is.
That's a good idea. So tonight, if you want to join us, the North Shore Rotary Club is hosting virtual bingo, where Christine Dehart and myself will be here inside Rabs hosting a bingo game. We'll give away some
lovely
cash,
Christine.
some prizes at 7 o'clock. So it's not too late if you want to go and sign up, sinorthshorerotary.org/bingo.
You did it.
Be sure to join us tonight if you want. Anybody that's playing, we look forward to seeing you. You're going to get your bingo cards via email, and it'll be a fun time. The other, we have to remind people too, because May 15th is coming.
It's right around the corner, people.
And while that is currently the last day of the pause, and we're going to somewhat get back
P-A-U-S-E, not P-A-W-S-E.
Right. We're going to get back to some normalcy a little bit, whatever that is. But we have our talent show, so we're looking for your talent. We want you to send in your videos, bowlatrabs.com/talent.
You did 2 backslashes within 10 minutes of each other.
Did it. I've been practicing. We want you to showcase your talent. We want to be able to showcase your talent. So you have until May 15th to submit your videos to us.
Come on, people, get those videos in.
We've got some great prizes, an elusive trophy, and the voting period open. So your friends and family will get to vote on the winners. So May 15th is the deadline. Get your videos in. We want to see your talent. You've seen some great talent on this show, and we want to bring more talent to our show.
Varied stuff. Dancing, gymnastics, whatever you do.
Oh boy. Everyone has to color their hair blue on Monday. That would be funny.
Blue Monday.
If everybody dyed their hair blue for the drive-by on Monday.
Beep your horn.
It might not be blue by Monday. Who knows? It's going fast.
I know it is fading fast.
There goes Jimmy.
So no show on Sunday, Naz. You're gonna see. All right, we gotta, and then we can throw him in the back when he gets closer to the back here.
It's hard to do it backwards.
Monday, Naz. Monday. I know you're excited, Naz. Who is going to be on our show is
Nelson Figueroa. Nelson Figueroa, SNY Emmy award-winning show analyst previously, ex-Met, and he's going to be joining us to talk some baseball and whatever he feels like talking. Hopefully you have, I know I have sports fans that are going to be out there. Joe Cal is trying to shush his schedule for Monday so he can be with us for a little while. So we want those questions for him.
Yeah.
This is a chance to get on the inside track, find out what goes on in Metland and broadcast land. And so get your questions ready for him.
We know all about broadcasting. What are we going to ask him? What can we ask about?
I actually said to him, because I was trying not to fangirl when I was talking to him, but I said that he really grew into that role from the time he started till his last season there. That he was a really good analyst, and at the time he came on, he replaced Bobby Ojeda, and I loved Bobby Ojeda, and I thought he was great, and but he really grew into that, and I said that. My co-host and I, we aspire to be as good as you guys are. I watch and I listen to his podcast and I try to take some tips on how he handles guests and,
it's easier when you're behind the radio because you can't see you.
Yeah. Cause they could be throwing things at each other and shooting rubber bands at each other. They have a great, he has a great chemistry with his co-host. But anyway, it's on hold for now because there's no baseball. So I said, my thing to the Post is that's why we need a podcast. People are dying to talk about sports. So come on, let's get it going.
Did we cut the cake?
Yes, cut up.
Did you guys eat it?
For everybody.
Wait, did she actually get you cake that you could eat?
Yeah.
Okay. We're concerned because sometimes we forget Michael can't eat certain things. Or doesn't want to eat certain things, and then he.
I was a very picky eater at times.
And Monday is episode 50, so episode 50 with Figgy. I mean, that's cool.
50 with Figgy.
50 with Figgy. I like it. 50 with Figgy. Figgy with an IE.
Not a Y.
Not a Y. So we're looking forward to the rest of tomorrow, and then kicking off Monday with Figgy, and then in the upcoming week we've got a bunch of guests.
Yeah.
While we always look forward to a weekly check-in on Thursday with Pamela Silvestri, and we talk about food, even though we talk about food every day. Jessica B. Phillips from Historic Richmond Town will be with us this week.
That should be great. That should be interesting.
Yeah, and So we'll talk to her about it. She at Richmond Town, to keep people abreast of what's happening there or what's available when you can go and enjoy the space. She's been doing these one-on-one videos, giving you tours of some of the houses.
Oh, really?
And she's got some interesting finds. So if you go to the Historic Richmond Town Facebook page or Instagram, you'll see these videos. It's this little series that they started in quarantine, and they're great. She's there. It's over a year now, and she's doing a great job. She's young. She's excited. She's come to Historic Richmond Town, and they're doing some good work. So she'll be with us this week. Yeah. And then also Coley Edison of
that
the
should be interesting.
PBA. So
yeah, she's get your questions ready for her too.
Yeah, she's the new chief. I think she's the CEO.
I thought
of the Professional Bowler Association. So
I know John Baranello. I'm sure will have, but we'll be able to regale his previous conversation with her.
Yeah. So thank you, John. And so we're looking forward to a great week. Absolutely a great week here on Live from Rabs. Like we said, we're here until further notice, which we were extended through May 15th. And we'll see where that takes us. You never know.
You never know.
We might be technically extended through July 1st.
We might be technically, or yes.
But we'll see where life
UFN
takes us. UFN. Well, thanks for tuning in and watching us today. We're certainly looking forward to tomorrow. And of course, taking a break on Sunday.
Yes,
and then
nice.
Getting right back into the action with episode 50 on. Yeah, it's 50. 5-0. We aged really quickly.
It feels like it. I feel like I've aged that much. Yes.
Well, thanks for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. If I get to see you tonight playing bingo, we'll see you then. Thank you, John LaSpina, for joining us today.
Yeah, John, that was great.
You're great. While we do miss Maple Lanes, we certainly have some great memories. And I always joke, and John mentioned it a little bit. We do have this great customer and base that comes from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And of course, extended part of our family that has joined the Rabs family after Maple Lanes closed. And we love everybody, and we're excited that they came and decided to come over and it's a commitment. If you live in Brooklyn, you bowled there for years, to come over the bridge every week to come bowl here. And it's even vice versa. People that grew up there, moved here, were living here and bowled,
and still
bowled there. Yeah. So thank you, John, for shedding some light on BVL as well. And Naz, we kept it real today, we always do.
Yeah, we always keep it real.
Because if we didn't, what would that mean?
That would be we were fake news. We would be fake news.
We're not fake news.
We're not fake news.
Well, until tomorrow.
Yeah, that was awesome.